Some of today's most luxurious foods? Yeah, they used to be cheap, like free with your beer kind of cheap. From prisoner meals to bar snacks, these once humble ingredients have clawed their way up the culinary ladder to become full-blown delicacies. So how did it happen? And why are we now paying premium prices for yesterday's scraps? Stick around because number 1 on this list might just ruin brunch for you. Number 10, Maryland blue crabs. Let's start with something salty, Maryland blue crabs. Back in the day, bars in Maryland used to serve these things for free. Yep, free. They'd steam them up, toss on some Old Bay seasoning, which was literally invented for this exact reason, and hand them out to keep customers thirsty and the beer flowing. Why? Crabs were everywhere. The Chesapeake Bay was teeming with them, and no one thought twice about cracking a few shells mid-pint. Fast forward to today, a bushel of premium blue crabs can go for nearly $300, depending on the season and size. They're featured in gourmet seafood towers and summer cookouts where people treat them like edible gold. What happened? Overfishing, environmental changes, and, yep, demand. Crabs became scarce and their street food status turned upscale. Funny how something once used to push alcohol is now a luxury party centerpiece. And it's only the beginning. Next up is something that went from kennel to fine dining. Number 9, lamb shanks. Let's talk about lamb shanks, a cut of meat that used to be so tough, so bony, and so unwanted that butchers practically gave it away. In fact, it was once considered dog food. People didn't want to deal with the long cooking times or the chewy texture. But then came slow braising, culinary trends, and celebrity chefs putting lamb shanks on white linen tablecloths with wine reductions and rosemary sprigs. Today, you'll find lamb shanks on upscale menus from New York to Melbourne, priced anywhere from $25 to $40 a plate. Even buying them raw at your local butcher can set you back over $15 a pound, especially if it's grass-fed or imported. So what changed? A little technique, a lot of marketing, and a growing obsession with fall-off-the-bone anything. From dog bowls to dinner parties, the humble lamb shank got a serious rebrand. And speaking of fishy rebrands, wait till you see what cod's been up to. Number 8, cod. Once the everyman's fish, cod was a staple in working-class diets, especially in the UK. Cheap, abundant, and easy to fry, it became the undisputed king of fish and chips, served in newspapers, doused in vinegar, and devoured without a second thought. Fast forward a few decades and cod's low-cost rep is gone. Overfishing, stricter catch quotas, and sustainability issues have made it much harder to come by. In early 2025, prices jumped another 30%, and fish and chip shops in the UK are now paying up to £295 per case. Some restaurants have even swapped it for alternatives like pollock or haddock to keep prices down, because cod has officially entered premium territory. What was once the fish of Friday night is now more expensive, harder to find, and treated like seafood royalty. And if you think that's wild, wait till you hear about the deep frying oil that's outpricing olive oil. Number 7, peanut oil. There was a time when peanut oil came in massive tins and cost next to nothing. It was the go-to for deep frying, especially in southern kitchens, and you could get enough to fry a whole turkey for the price of a cheap dinner. Fast forward to today, and peanut oil is outpricing extra virgin olive oil in some stores. As of early 2025, the global price sits at $1,679 per metric ton. That's not small peanuts. What happened? A mix of supply chain issues, crop impacts from climate change, and surging demand for cleaner frying oils. Toss in a few food influencers and restaurants labeling it the secret to crispy perfection, and you've got yourself a pantry item that's now practically a luxury cooking ingredient. Oh, and if you're allergic, congrats, you now have an even better reason to avoid it. Coming up, bones. Yes, actual bones. You're not ready for how bougie they've become. Number 6, beef bones. Remember when beef bones were just bones? Butchers used to toss them in for free if you asked nicely, or sell them for pennies to folks making broth or feeding their dogs. These days, they're front and center at upscale restaurants, plated with parsley and Himalayan salt, served as roasted bone marrow, aka meat butter, for $18+ an order. At home, good luck finding them cheap. As of 2025, grass-fed beef bones average around $13 per pound, depending on the cut and location. Why the price hike? Bone broth trends, collagen marketing, and foodies who now swear by marrow as the new foie gras. Beef bones went from background noise to headliners and somehow convinced us to pay steak prices for something we use to boil for soup. And if you think that's an upgrade, wait till we get to the milk substitute that's milking your wallet dry. Number 5, oat milk. Let's be real. Oat milk used to be the quiet kid in the non-dairy aisle. It was cheap, obscure, and only bought by vegans or the lactose-intolerant crowd who couldn't commit to soy. Then came the coffee shop revolution. Suddenly, every barista was steaming oat milk like it was liquid gold. Brands got fancy, packaging went minimalist, the price shot up. A standard carton of oat milk now often costs twice as much as dairy, and some cafes even charge extra for a splash. What changed? Viral TikToks, sustainability trends, and a whole generation that decided oats needed a publicist. The result? A pantry staple turned fashion milk. And it's not even that expensive to make at home. It's oats and water. But somehow, we're now paying $6 per liter to feel like we're saving the planet. And our digestive systems. Next up, a cut of beef that once sat sad and lonely in butcher cases, until chefs made it sexy.
Number 4. Beef short ribs.
Once the wallflower of the meat counter, beef short ribs were tough, fatty, and often ground into burger meat or thrown into stew just to get rid of them. But all it took was a few slow cookers and smoking pits, and boom, culinary glow-up. Now you'll find short ribs braised in red wine at Michelin star restaurants, glazed with gochujang at hipster food trucks, and smoked for 12 hours in barbecue joints that charge $30+ a plate. And that's if you can even find them at your local butcher. They go fast. Current prices, anywhere from $6.50 to nearly $8 per pound, depending on the quality and cut. Not bad, until you realize you're paying premium steak prices for a cut that used to be sold as soup meat. Chefs saw potential. Diners bought the hype. And now, short ribs are anything but short on the bill. Coming up next, the bar snack that used to be free with beer, now served on ice with mignonette.
Number 3. Oysters.
Believe it or not, oysters used to be so common, they were considered poor people food. In 19th century New York, bars gave them away for free to get patrons to buy more beer. Charles Dickens himself wrote that oysters and poverty went hand in hand. They were everywhere, cheap, abundant, and eaten by the bucketful. Mark Kurlansky's book, The Big Oyster, dives deep into this forgotten era when oysters were as casual as popcorn at the movies. Now, head to a raw bar and you'll pay $2-4 per oyster minimum. Want a dozen? That'll be $25-40 easy. And if you're inland, add shipping markup on top of that. Why the shift? Overharvesting, pollution, and disappearing reefs made oysters scarcer. That scarcity, plus the rise of foodie culture, turned them into status appetizers. From beer chasers to champagne pairings, oysters made the glow-up look effortless. And if you think that's dramatic, just wait until you hear what prisoners used to get fed.
Number 2.
Lobster. Hard to believe, but lobster was once so reviled it was nicknamed the cockroach of the sea. In colonial New England, it washed up on shore in such huge quantities that it was fed to prisoners and servants, often written into labor contracts as a food that should be limited. That's right, people had to ask not to eat too much lobster. Fast forward to today, lobster is a luxury, served on white tablecloths, paired with butter and champagne, and flaunting price tags like $60+ for a tail or $100 for a full lobster dinner. So what changed? Overfishing made them rarer, while clever marketing and fancy plating turned lobster into a romantic indulgence. Once the poor man's protein, now it's a honeymoon must-have. The prison tray became the wedding platter. But even lobster can't touch what used to be handed out for free in bars and now sells for hundreds per ounce. Stick around.
Number 1.
Caviar. Caviar. Fancy, right? Served on silver spoons, eaten with pinkies out. But would you believe this symbol of wealth was once bar food? Yep. In early 20th century America, saloons handed out bowls of caviar for free, just like peanuts or pretzels. Why? It was salty, so patrons drank more. And back then, American rivers were teeming with sturgeon, making caviar cheap and easy to get. Fast forward to now, caviar is one of the most expensive delicacies on Earth. Depending on the variety, you can pay $100 to $500+ per ounce. That's more than gold, literally. Why the dramatic shift? Overfishing wiped out wild sturgeon populations. Strict regulations and labor-intensive farming made it rare. Then, luxury branding did the rest. What was once handed out by the scoop is now locked in glass jars and served at black tie galas. From bar snack to billionaire bait, caviar's glow-up is the most jaw-dropping of them all. From crustaceans in prison to bones on fine dining menus, these foods prove one thing. Taste may be timeless, but price? That's a whole different game. So next time you're splurging on oysters or sipping oat milk, just remember, they all had humble beginnings. Which of these shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more deep dives into food's wildest stories.